Here's an article from 2008, Kava Safety Update, 6 years after the widely published scare. Is the herb safe to use? By Michael Castleman. In 2000, a 14-year-old American girl developed persistent nausea, vomiting, fatigue, weight loss. She saw a doctor who prescribed breast and liver function tests. The test results showed much more liver damage than hepatitis typically causes. The girl was hospitalized, liver failure and emergency liver transplant. Liver failure is extremely rare in otherwise healthy teenagers. This girl did not use alcohol, which in large amounts is toxic to the liver, and she took no medications. However, she had taken Kava for 44 days to treat anxiety. This case was just one of the approximately 82 reports from around the world of Kava users developing liver disease, from mild impairment of liver function to jaundice, hepatitis and even acute liver failure requiring a transplant in an estimated 12 patients. 9 of these people died. In early 2001, these reports generated international headlines. USA Today, Kava herb linked to liver problems. The New York Times, questions about Kava safety. They also prompted several countries to ban the Kava, including Germany, Austria, Canada, France, Ireland, Singapore, Switzerland, and the UK. Kava was not banned. Kava was not banned in the United States, but the FDA warned consumers about the possibility of life-threatening liver damage. The latest research on Kava's benefits. The safety scare has pushed studies on Kava benefits out of the news media, but research has continued and showing an effective treatment for anxiety and anxiety-related insomnia. German researchers in 2003 compared Kava 400 milligrams a day with standard doses of 2 anti-anxiety medications in 129 people. After 8 weeks, all 3 treatments were equally effective. Other German scientists compared Kava 100 milligrams 3 times a day with standard doses of 2 drugs in the Valium family of tranquilizers in 172 people. After 6 weeks, all 3 treatments were equally effective. A third group of German researchers gave 61 people with anxiety-related sleep problems either placebo or Kava. 4 weeks later, the Kava group reported significantly more satisfying sleep. Italian researchers gave 1 of 3 treatments to 68 women complaining of menopause-induced anxiety, a placebo, a low-dose 100 mg and a high-dose 200 mg a day Kava. Both Kava treatments were significantly more effective than placebo. 2 research teams, one British, another German, performed sophisticated statistical tests, meta-analysis on studies of Kava for anxiety. The English group reviewed 7 trials, the German 6. In both analyses, Kava provided an effective treatment for anxiety. Going on to page 2. So, is Kava inherently hazardous? According to distinguished German herb researcher Matthias Schmidt, an expert on Kava, the answer is no. Many of the case reports of Kava-related liver damage turned out to be less than compelling. Researchers at the University of Münster, Germany, analysed 78 case reports, and only 4 could be persuasively linked to Kava alone. Smith's own analysis knocks that number down to 3. The tiny number of European Kava-related problems, Smith said, stand against 450 million doses of Kava taken during the 10 years before the German ban. So that's a tiny amount of cases out of the 450 million doses. Analysis by the University of Sydney, Australia concurs. Only a negligible fraction of the case reports are attributable to Kava. Even if every case attributable to Kava, that works out to be 0.3 cases per 1 million doses, a rate of serious side effects comparable with many FDA-approved drugs. In most case reports of Kava toxicity, the herb was just one of many drugs taken which can harm the liver, among them alcohol, aspirin, Prozac, Paxil, and birth control pills. Furthermore, according to a report in the German Pharmacist Journal, Kava can be used throughout Polynesia Kava has been used for at least 1500 years, with few reports of significant side effects and no reports of liver damage. Finally, various research reports show that the traditional water extract of the herb is not toxic to the liver in rats and causes non-toxicity in isolated human cells. However, many drugs considered safe in recommended amounts can cause liver damage when taken in large amounts, for example, Tylenol. 2 studies looked at Kava's use among Australian Aboriginal population. Heavy users have developed elevated liver enzymes, the first sign of liver damage, but none developed liver failure. And the native Australians were using at least 4 ounces of Kava a week for decades, thousands of times more than the typical American user. So the 4 possible reasons provided by this author for the Kava-induced liver damage. Possibly first one, that they were taking other drugs causing liver problems, or 2, because Kava is a slow growing herb. There were reports that some growers stretch their supply, clean not just root but also aerial parts, the leaves and stem, and those parts can contain an alkaloid that is toxic to the liver, and it's possible that the contamination of root with stem and leaf material is responsible for the liver toxicity. Despite its problems, Kava is an effective herbal tranquilizer. The contamination theory dovetails with the timelines of problems with Kava. The first report of liver toxicity was published in 1998. The story became news in 2001. Reports of liver toxicity peaked in 2002. Since then, they have fallen off, in part because Kava consumption has fallen. As that happened, there were less pressure on the stretch of supply, so it's likely that the less contamination of root material, etc. 3 Polynesians pound Kava with water and drink a cloudy white liquid. Western commercial extracts do not use water but alcohol, acetone or methanol. That results in different concentrations of the herb's bioactive constituents, the cavalactones, and that may play a role in the liver damage. In addition, water extracts of Kava contain a potent antioxidant that helps prevent liver toxicity. Commercial preparations don't use glutathione, which may increase the risk of liver problems. Finally, Kava is one of the many great drugs and herbs that affect the body's P40/50 system. It's 50 enzymes, 6 of which are involved in the metabolism of 90% of drugs, including medicinal herbs. When drugs and herbs affect the cytochrome P40/50 enzyme system are taken simultaneously, liver damage or potential problematic interactions are possible. So the P450 problems are most likely those with genetic deficiency in certain enzyme. This deficiency is rare in Polynesians, but an estimated 8% of people of Europeans have it. So this could cause increase in susceptibility to liver damage and at the same time explain why Kava toxicity has not been observed in traditional using cultures. So let's see the final little recommendation. Despite the reported problems, Kava is an effective herbal tranquilizer compared with pharmaceuticals with similar qualities. So compared with pharmaceuticals with similar qualities such as Valium, Kava is safer. German researchers estimate that Kava produces 0.008 adverse event reports per million doses. Valium produces 2.12. However, Valium does not cause liver failure.